Ubisoft announced that they'd be shutting the servers off for 2016's The Crew. I feel compelled to make a video, or several, regarding the Crew video game before the servers are shut down, potentially for good, in March of 2024. Being an online-only game, this, on paper, could spell the end of the game's life, and our ability to play it. This obviously adds fuel to the discussion of how, in this digital delivery world, do we own our games, or are we merely renting them? I may spend a little time debating that later, but I think the game itself needs to be highlighted. Without reservation, I liked it a lot. I thought not only was it a tremendous technical achievement, mapping out a scale model of just about the entire United States. It featured a nice, varied set of cars, obviously not to the level of Forza Horizon or Gran Turismo. There were even motorcycles that were integrated. I didn't purchase that DLC that would have enabled bikes around the country, but I was able to test the bikes, and the adrenaline rush from riding the bikes was just as good as the cars. The cars had a robust customization system. You could purchase a car, customize the looks of the car with body kits, vinyls, paint jobs. You could also do full modifications to make your car look like something like a Hoonigan special or an off-road rally monster, and certain story mission types would require this sort of specialization. There were fun mission types in the story. There were skills challenges that rewarded you with vehicle upgrades. You could stop at landmarks all across the country. I think there were something like 242 landmarks that you could stop, essentially get out of the car. It would show you a slideshow, give you a little information about where you were. Yeah, you could actually learn something, and they even gave you a little bit of cash and a little bit of XP. As you gained more XP, there was like an RPG-like skill tree where you could enable certain skills that would help you in certain missions. And the vehicle physics were believable enough, and when you got it right, or when you were avoiding cars and skidding around corners, it just felt very rewarding. And finally, I liked the story mode. I'll spend a little time talking about the story mode here, since I think this aspect probably drew a lot of heat when it was released. The crux of the story is that you're a youngish car enthusiast, and you witnessed your brother get double-crossed by the leader of what is a nationwide car gang. So now you, the protagonist, you're hell-bent on revenge, and you're going to exact that on the villain by infiltrating that car gang and moving up the ranks. There are animated scenes to lay out the story, and there's full voice acting, sometimes within the mission itself. Characters are introduced that will ultimately help push you up the club's ladder, and they're located in different parts of the world, so you keep progressing around the world and through the story. The characters are fine, the voice acting is pretty good. The story is not Mass Effect quality, you got to get past that, and the voice acting is not like something you'd find in a Telltale games, but it was to me, a perfect platform to send the player across the country doing all manner of crazy motorsports things. Compare it to the most common alternative, the generic motorsports festival. Grid 2 has it, the Forza Horizon series is obviously revolving around that, Test Drive Unlimited had it, Need for Speed Heat. Heck, Motor Fest is in the name of the latest Crew game. I spent some time playing the Crew 2, and that introduced the car party backdrop to the series. It just didn't grab me, and I stopped playing after a couple hours. I may be unique in that I really like these creative attempts to push you into utilizing the game mechanics. Win, rinse, repeat, it doesn't do it for me. Games that have tried to insert a story, like Driver San Francisco, The Crew, the first Breaking Point in the F1 series, even Grid Legends. You can nitpick a lot of things about the execution of their story modes, but at least they tried, and they didn't default to, what's the next great cargasm that we can revolve around. As for the mission types, you had a really good variety. You had race missions, you could do point-to-point checkpoint time trials. There were marked man missions where you had to inflict a certain amount of damage on an opponent. Again, not original, but boy was it, when you had that last hit lined up, it was really satisfying to hit and connect. Sometimes you had to pick up contraband, and sometimes you just had to ditch the cops. And I think I'll actually include a couple examples of these evade missions later, because they really got your heart pumping. As for the skills challenges you could do, they had escape missions. You had to drive fast but not hit any cars or go off track. They had these things called scrambles where you go off-road hitting checkpoints. My favorites were precision driving, where you had to drive through these very narrow gates, and they got narrower and narrower the better you did, and the slalom missions within traffic. That was awesome. The evade missions make me feel like I am in a classic car movie. Driver San Francisco had missions that were actually directly based on classic car movies and TV shows. Like they had a Dukes of Hazzard challenge, they had a Smokey and the Bandit challenge, etc. Here, you get to feel like you're the star in your own story. It almost makes me feel more like the movie Bullet with Steve McQueen, where you're escaping the cops. And you can actually live that out by going to San Francisco in the Crew and trying to avoid the cops and exiting the city and leaving it all behind. And there was decent mission replayability as well, both for the story missions. If you get a better car and you want to do better, you can go back and redo it. And for skills, you could do these skills over and over again. There's a great way to earn XP and cash, and obviously the better car you have, it really made some of the later missions pretty easy. So with the game technically off of the market, I can't really give you a buy recommendation. If you didn't get a chance to play it, I really wish you'd had the chance. In the end, I've spent about 62 hours in the game, and I've really completed only about 61% of all that's available to do. And probably to Ubisoft's chagrin, my total time spent in crew mode, which is the multiplayer mode, 0.0 minutes. Sorry, there was just enough to do all by myself. But enjoy it while you still can.
This the celebration spot?
Oh, so you're the guy, huh? Helped out Eric in the east, made Cam disappear in the south, found a way around the cops in the mountain states. Well, you got a nice resume.
I try.
A little too good, maybe. See, my boy Troy just called from the camp and said, well, it seems that you were working with those FBI boys that put him away. Now, I'm not saying you're a snitch, as such. But a man in my position can't really take that risk now, can he? So, I just put a bounty on your head. Every 5'10" in the state wants your blood. What a shame we'll never meet. You better run!
Zoe, the cover's blown. I got the whole West Coast chapter on my tail.
Damn. Stay alive, Alex. We'll still get shit.
Snitch throat and leave you in the gutter!
You got away with words. Yeah, where are you?
Sorry, son. No, it's just business.
Ambush, of course.